Bianca, we are replaying your run to the U.S. Open Championship this week. When you think back to the day you won the title, what do you remember most?
Just laying on that floor. What am I saying? Floor on the tennis court. I was also laying on the floor in the locker room, but just that moment on the court, finally just letting everything sink in, thinking about how all the hard work that I put throughout the years, all the sacrifices, really paid off. And I was just so grateful in that moment that I never gave up.
When you think back to it, 5-1 in the second set, you had a championship point. All of a sudden, it's 5-5. The biggest stadium in all of tennis is really loud, most of them cheering for your opponent who happens to be a legend of the sport. Why were you ready as a teenager for that moment?
Well, I didn't have as much pressure, I think, than Serena did. She was playing someone younger. She was playing someone that's never reached a Grand Slam final ever. So I went in the match with the mentality with just keep fighting for every point, no matter who's on the other side. And I think that really helped me stay in the present moment as much as I could, even though the crowd was going crazy. At one point I had to plug my ears somehow because it was super crazy. But in that moment I told myself, just try to win as many points as you can so they can shut up. And I was just going for my shots, and I just had that momentum on me from the beginning of the match, and I was lucky enough to hold that throughout the whole match.
Have you rewatched any of the matches from the U.S. Open last year at all?
I watched the finals again, but only the last couple games. I typically don't like to watch myself play, just nobody likes to hear their voice on camera. It's kind of the same thing. But it's nice to go over it and see what things I could have done better or the good things that I've done, but just weeks later, months later, because you have a different perspective and all of that. And I did that once with my coach for a different match, but every time someone brings it up, or every time I watch a video of me holding up the trophy, it brings back so many feelings and such good memories.
You have used creative visualization to great effect during your rise. You had been visualizing yourself winning the U.S. Open for a long time, even before you did it. What are you visualizing these days?
Well, it's definitely not easy. It's not the ideal scenario because we don't know when tennis will come back, when sports in general will come back, when anything will come back. But the main thing that I'm doing to stay positive is I'm doing this mini gratitude meditation where I just think of the things that I'm grateful for every single morning, even if it's very small, like having food on the table or just being with family, having a home to be in during these tough times. And I think that's the one thing that's helping me stay productive and hopeful for the future. And I'm also using creative visualization to see myself play tennis, right? Since I can't play right now, at least I'm using my mind to do that. And yeah, just staying as hopeful as possible.
Before this pandemic, the only thing to really slow you down has been injuries. When you think about that, are there things that you're looking to change to avoid them moving forward, or do you see this as a little bit of bad luck early in your career?
There's good and bad in every situation. But for me, having these injuries at such a young age, in my view, I think are beneficial because it really helps me understand my body more and what I want. Physically and mentally, or knowing what my threshold is and all of that, which will help me prevent more injuries in the future, I would hope. So I'm trying to take it as a positive as much as I can because I've learned so much about myself during those times. So I'm definitely grateful. It's a bittersweet period when that happens.
So we're looking forward to tennis coming back. We don't know when that will be, but we'll give the tennis fans a little treat and talk a little bit about the future. I was talking to ESPN analyst Brad Gilbert last week, and he was saying, if you were healthy, he thought you'd be number one by now. Have you set goals for yourself for whenever? I know. What if game, right? But have you set goals? Like, what's when you look at it? You're still so young. You're going to get better even. Like, have you set goals for yourself whenever the tour returns?
Yes, and becoming number one has always been up there. Maybe French Open will be held in September. Who knows? Hopefully. And from the beginning of the year, I spoke to my coach, and the goal was to win the French Open. And since the French Open could still be a possibility, then that's still my goal. And if I do that, I don't know how the ranking system is going to be, but if I do that, I think I'll have a good chance to become number one.
And we know that clay is your favorite surface. You've said that in the past.
Yes, sir.
We look forward to seeing you there. Is there a player that you have not played yet that you are looking forward to playing?
Ooh. Good question. Never really thought about it. Oh, Ashley Barty. I would definitely love to play her, because she's one of the women on tour that has a different game style than most, and I think it'll be a nice challenge to play her.
That would be kind of a chess match type of encounter, wouldn't it?
Definitely. Slice to slice, drop shot after drop shot. It would definitely be a fun match for the audience. Maybe not for us. We'd be out of breath, but...
What would you think about playing Kim Clijsters?
Oh my goodness, that's right. I actually got to meet her for the first time at Indian Wells before everything got canceled. We had a very nice encounter. She was super sweet. And knowing that she's actually back on the tour actually gives me a chance to maybe play her in the future. That would be insane. I don't know, man. I was like starstruck when I saw her, but actually playing her, I don't know. Hopefully I can bring my skills that I brought against Serena against her.
Why did you admire her so much growing up?
Well, she was actually one of the first players I've ever seen play. And I was just mesmerized by her game style because it was so different from everyone else's. And at that point, I told myself, I was like, I want to be that. I want to be different. And when I stepped on the court, I kind of just had that mentality ever since. And I would say I thank her for that because it's definitely helped me now.
Well, hopefully we get to see that matchup because that would be a lot of fun. Finally, obviously there's no tennis being played on a court, but you do have a competition coming up. You're in the virtual Madrid Open. The draw is out. You're in a group with Madison Keys.
No, I'm
not. Madison Keys, Kristina Mladenovic, and Caroline Wozniacki. How would you assess your gaming skills?
I mean, I used to play Xbox. I had to throw my Xbox out at one point because I was playing it too much, but I got it again. But now we're playing on PlayStation, so they sent me a PlayStation, and I'm honestly ready. Like, I've been practicing. I've never played the game before, but I've been practicing, and I think I have a good chance. I'm excited. It's like the closest thing we'll ever get to sports in like a while.
Well, we don't see you lose a lot, so I like your chances. as honestly, I forget what it looks like really, but
yeah, I know.
Bianca, listen, it's a pleasure always to talk to you, and we look forward. I hope to be interviewing you at the French Open later this year.
Just keep the routine going. Thank you.